when that happens, we'll go to it. We do want to hear some of what he has to say. And we're awaiting more information as far as what may come out of West Palm Beach as far as will the affidavit be released. But there have been some documents that they agreed to release. So joining us to discuss, University professor at Touro College, Thane Rosenbaum, and former federal prosecutor and Andrew Cherkasky.
That's Thane. There we go.
Yes.
We showed them in reverse. But
yeah, we showed them in reverse. And Andrew, I'll start with you. Okay, here are the sealing order, motion to seal, criminal cover sheet. What kind of information would we get from that, even if it's redacted?
I don't think that there's going to be a lot of information other than just kind of the administrative steps that were taken. So there's nothing that we're going to be able to decipher from it or read from it, I think, to give us any more information about what's going on here.
Yeah, Thane, do you think they're releasing these 3 documents just to kind of whet the appetite, so to speak, of everyone who's demanding more information? And do you think that it's likely that they will actually release part or all of the affidavit, at least with some redactions?
Well, I don't know if it's going to whet anyone's appetite, Katrina, because there's really nothing in that. Sure. What you really want to hear, you want to see is, what did Reinhart read that made him think that there were national security implications to documents of a top secret nature inside Mar-a-Lago, and that information would either be destroyed or revealed to some other foreign entity? That's what we're looking for, right? Because that could only justify the raid that we saw on the president's home. Anything short of that isn't really an Espionage Act problem. It goes back to the Presidential Archives Act, and that's not really a criminal statute. So what everybody is waiting to see is, what was the emergency? What was the fire? And surely the affidavit must have had something of national security implications. And if not, how could the Attorney General have justified the raid on a former president's home? So unless they provide anything like that, I just don't see how anyone's going to be satisfied with any other disclosure.
And that's why a lot of people want to see more. But Andrew, when we talk about this Judge Reinhart, maybe I'm wrong in how I'm reading this, but I feel like he's just a pawn. And the chess game is being run by Merrick Garland. And he's the king, or I don't know what position, maybe the knight. But you've got him telling this magistrate, we need you to go in, because I can't imagine this magistrate sitting around saying, yeah, I'm going to send some FBI agents in. So as far as releasing the affidavit or any other information, isn't this really going to come down to Merrick Garland?
Well, Merrick Garland, I think, is king, according to the White House. You know, Biden's administration is admitting that he's in charge and that they don't have any oversight or any knowledge as to what he's doing, which is ridiculous given that he serves at the pleasure of the president. But moving beyond that, what we're going to expect to see, I think, in the coming days is less answers on what we really want to know, and that's the jurisdictional element. The professor is talking about what the urgency is. I want to know if Judge Reinhart challenged the government on what President Trump was saying, that these were unclassified records, and whether they're talking about whether the Constitution even allows this prosecution in the first place. I think that's going to be key to see if Judge Reinhart was fair in the first place.
Yeah, Thane, is there anything in this potential affidavit that could backfire against former President Trump? I know he's calling for everything to be released, but is there something in it that could actually be more harmful to him than good?
Katrina, look, we know that it's very possible that there's classified documents there that he had no intention of destroying or sharing, right? Or giving to a foreign enemy like North Korea or China or Russia, right? So it could be that he comes across as, yet again, reckless, irresponsible. He didn't need to have those documents. He thought he had declassified them, but he never really did, or he didn't have authority to declassify top secret documents. But again, unless there's actual evidence of top secret information of a national security level that suggested that there was either the possibility that it would be destroyed or disseminated, it's not clear to me why they would have ordered the raid. So yes, the president might not look good in the end. Why did you need this in your home? Why did you take it? But I'm not sure that it rises to a criminal level unless he planned to do something with it, as opposed to being recklessly in possession of it.
All right, Andrew, let's shift a little bit to the tax situation with Weisselberg, the CFO of the Trump Organization, who's admitted, by the way, yes, I didn't pay taxes on some of the benefits I got from the organization. Does this in any way get tracked back to the former president? What do you think comes of this?
Well, I think certainly the left is going to make a big deal of that, and they're going to try to connect this to President Trump as much as they possibly can. That said, it doesn't seem as though through this plea negotiation, there's any sort of idea or hope that they have to pin his testimony directly against Donald Trump. So I don't think that this is going to do anything to harm Donald Trump. I think that there could be some degree of implication to the Trump Organization if they were, as a whole, perhaps not at Donald Trump's level, engaging in behavior similar. But I don't think, again, that there has been evidence of that. And I don't think that that's going to come forward. So I think that this is a personal tax issue that he's going to jail for. And I don't think that there's a lot that's going to be made by way of headlines against Trump directly.
Yeah, Thane, I want to just read a little excerpt actually from the New York Times today. And it said specifically that Weisselberg's admissions will not implicate the former president. And this is interesting. His willingness to accept jail time rather than turn on Mr. Trump underscores the extent of his loyalty to a family he has served for nearly half a century. And it helps stymie the larger effort to indict Mr. Trump. Do you think that Weisselberg could be perceived as a traitor? But we're seeing here, even from the New York Times, it's quite the opposite.
No, if anything, all he's agreed to do, Katrina, is if they bring charges against the Trump Organization in October, he agreed to testify to essentially what he pled today, to say that I was involved in some kind of tax scheme in which I was receiving off-the-books compensation for my grandchildren's tuition, for my apartment, for a Mercedes-Benz. I was getting perks as part of my job, and I didn't report it, and therefore I received a benefit of a $1.76 million, and I didn't report it, and neither did the Trump Organization. But it's a company-wide issue. It's not about the president. And let's face it, both of you, you know that Newsmax gives you guys, what is it, like duplex apartments on Park Avenue? Parks, you know, those kinds of perks that
and
you
Mercedes.
both get.
And Mercedes.
And the Mercedes and the tuition.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I get that studio in Hell's Kitchen. But I think the Trump people took the position this fall. You couldn't get us on the Mueller investigation. We're talking about perks.
Right.
You know, you're talking about tuition. Mm-hmm. These cases were brought after the failed Mueller investigation. Sure. And so it's logical to say, in the end, this is what you had, tuition benefits for grandchildren of an employee.
All right. We're going to have to leave it there. Out of time. Always great conversation. Thane Rosenbaum and Andrew Cherkasky, thanks for joining us.
How do I get the tuition benefit?
I don't know. Yeah. How do I get the Mercedes?